In case you missed it, Bill Gates will be giving away virtually all his wealth over the course of the next 20 years. And regardless of how you might feel about Bill Gates, that's a pretty amazing thing to do. And 20 years is actually a really interesting period of time, considering Pluto just moved into Aquarius as of last November. And Pluto will be spending 20 years in Aquarius. Aquarius is so much about power to the people. And when you think about how to really empower people, resources. One of the things that he had written was he was inspired by Andrew Carnegie's The Gospel of Wealth, which really makes the case for rich people giving back. Revolutionary concept these days. Especially love the inclusion of this line, the man who dies thus rich dies disgrace, which is really an effective use of shame. It's not unsurprising that Bill would be leading this charge. Back in 2023, he basically said he would rather pay for vaccines and get involved in the space race. Considering how that last Blue Origin trip just went, A+ decision. So here we have Bill Gates' chart, but what's worth noting is Pluto moving into Aquarius, as I just said. Pluto is in his 8th house. Pluto spending 20 years in this 8th house. And when you think about what the 8th house represents, it represents taxes, it represents death, it represents debt, it represents shared investments, joint resources. Bill has got a Chiron in Aquarius. And, Chiron is a core wounding in the chart. And in Aquarius, the sign of the people, the community. It's funny, he talks about how he does not want to be essentially shamed for being a rich man and a disgrace at his time of death with all of this wealth. And the 8th house really is a house of wealth. And Chiron, again, fear of what the people say about my legacy. And Pluto is, again, unearthing some of these really, really deep-rooted fears and almost on some level making you actually walk your talk. There's also going to be a full moon in Scorpio coming up this weekend, happening at 22 degrees. And looky here, he's got a Venus in Scorpio at 20 degrees. Venus rules money. It really rules values. So this is really a conversation about values, especially in Scorpio. Money and power. And then on the other hand, you've got Saturn here, which is legacy. Saturn ruling that 8th house. Saturn rules Aquarius. So there is a meaningful connection with my creative expression and what I get to do, selfishness, versus what I should be sharing. And, Venus and Saturn, I think about a long-standing foundation and the fact that this foundation is winding down at the end of Pluto in Aquarius. And we get this reveal around this full moon in Scorpio, because full moons bring illuminations, is really fascinating. Also because Venus rules his 11th house of the future long-term priorities, but also strategic alliances. He talks a lot about how he is going to have to figure out some different partnership with the government, but the foundation has to step up, especially considering that aid has been taken away